So normally when you read a story, it goes from start to finish. There's a character or characters in it who make choices, and then we see the consequences of their actions. But in a choose your own adventure or an interactive fiction type book, you, the reader, can make different choices. And then the story unfolds in a different way with different consequences depending on your choices. So you can write like a whole narrative that can branch in so many different ways and end up with so many different endings. But at the core of it, there's a choice and a consequence. And so this is why I love interactive fiction, especially for middle school, because as kids are developing that executive function and they're figuring out the difference between what I'm choosing to do and what's happening to me, right? And they're doing actions and consequences and real world consequences and how to make better choices, right? This is the best time to put them in the driver's seat of deciding like what kind of choices and consequences should be in their fictional world. So Beth has very helpfully given us a little image of a choose your own adventure book. So you can check that out if you need some historical context. But today we're going to be using Unfold Studio, which uses the programming language Ink to let us code our own adventures. So it's not just like printed in a book, it's actually you click on something and you see things on the screen and then you get more choices and click them. So I'm going to start out with, let's see, find my little presentation here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be doing interactive fiction with Unfold Studio, and this is the quick start guide, and I'm going to stick this in the chat for you so that you can find this and use all the links on it. Okay, so I'm just going to throw you into this. This is basically all the code you need to know to write a story. So I want you to look at this top thing here, the what you type. And we're going to look at which parts of those are like text, like English text, and which parts of it are code, like the instructions to the computer. So let's see, can we go around? Who's got something they observe on this top box here?
Something about the story.
Cool. So you see a story or a part of the story?
No, that was a question, but I guess what I'm thinking is there's a person who's coming into a lobby through a door, a revolving door.
Yeah, there you go. So this is the description of what's happening in the story right now. And do you see a symbol that happens right before that?
Dash.
Little dash.
A little dash or a minus. And is there anything that's different about the minus than the text? It's kind of hard to see.
Is it a different color?
It isn't a different color. Okay, so the minus is blue, and then the text of the story is black. What else do you notice?
The stars are the choices that they can click on.
Oh, there you go. So the symbol is the star, and then each of these texts next to it, that would be the choice that you could click on. Anything else?
Can you tell me what the dash meant again?
Yeah. There's a dash here on line 1, and that means that's a part of our story.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. So when we write this code, this is what we get in the interactive part. And what do we see here at the bottom?
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, but it looks like the colors are kind of different.
Yeah.
Ooh, good observation. So that the part of the story is in a dark text and the choices are lighter. There you go. So this is where you would click to see the next part of the story. So what do you think? Should we write that?
Yes.
Let's write it. Okay. So we're going to go to Unfold Studio, which is just unfold.studio. That's the web address. The name of it is the same as its address. And you could log in with your Gmail, or you could sign up, or you could just start making stories right now. Okay. So why don't we just start making a story right away? It's going to be a public story, which means anyone can edit it. So you have to not love it if you're going to do a public story, right? But let's just try that as our first one. So I'm going to do an I do, we do, you do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click new story. And you'll notice I'm not signed in. It asks for a title. So who can give me a title of a story? Any random thing. Stretch your creative muscles. A word or
Today, my cat.
two. Did you say my cat?
I said today, my cat.
Today, my cat is the name of the story. Okay, excellent. So to start the story, we're going to start with a dash or a minus. And as soon as I type that in, let's see, it went blue. So it recognized that. Cool. How should the story start? Give me a sentence to start out the story.
Today, my cat appeared in my dreams.
Lovely. Okay, so now we're going to start with a choice after that. And a choice is a star. What is one of the things that you could choose to do next?
I will empty the litter box.
Okay, here, and I'm going to put this empty the litter box. Okay,
I need to remember to do that.
what is another choice? A
I'm
different
gonna feed my cat.
feed the cat. Lovely. Okay, so we have a minus for a part of the story. We have 2 stars for choices. Let's just click save. And look, that's what you have over here. Today my cat appears in my dreams, and there are 2 choices. See how I get, they're like links. I'm going to click empty litter box. You emptied the litter box. That's it. That's all that happened, right? Nothing happened. What if we want something to happen when you empty the litter box?
Yeah, because I want my cat will purr.
Okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put little brackets around this choice. And that says, just show it in the choices. Don't type it here. What we want to actually type here is the consequence. So what happens when you empty the litter box?
My cat will purr.
My
cat purrs.
cat purrs. There you go. Let's try that. Okay, empty the litter box. See, look, you just see the consequence. You don't see the choice anymore. You could put in there the choice as well. I empty the litter box and my cat purrs. Like you could put that whole thing. Is that cool? Okay. So let's see, what's a consequence for feeding the cat?
How realistic do we want to get here?
Anything goes.
How about the cat took a nap because it was
Okay,
full?
the cat took a nap. Okay, so if you did feed the cat and then the cat took a nap, I'm going to put my same square brackets around that. So that's just the thing I click. And then the consequence is the cat takes a nap. Okay, so then this time we're going to click on feed the cat. Cat takes a nap. There you go. So that's a pretty easy structure for it to do. Let's try some other volunteer and we'll make a story together. So who would like to be a brave volunteer shares their screen? And let's just write a simple story. Go ahead.
This was actually way simpler than I thought it would be.
Yeah, well, it gets a lot more complex if you want it to, but it's really easy to start out.
Well, I don't want it to.
So it's unfold, like unfolding.
Oh,
laundry.
unfold.
There you go, unfold.studio. Like stories unfold.
I love it. Okay.
Good.
And then new story.
New story.
Okay.
What's a good title?
Title.
The Mysterious Man.
The Mysterious Man. Okay. Alrighty. Submit. Okay.
Great. So what symbol do we start out with for a piece of the story?
The dash.
There you go. Give it a
Okay.
space. That'll make everything happier. There you go.
Okay.
And what's the first line of your story? The Mysterious Man.
Always appears I'm gonna have to write it down. Sorry. Always appears. This is for kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so always appears in my. I'm just gonna go with the dreams thing.
Okay.
Before I awake.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can hit save right away and you can
Save.
see your
Okay,
story
here.
over on the right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you
Okay.
go.
All right. And then I have to come up with two choices.
Two choices. Yeah.
Okay. And use the star.
Mhm.
Okay. So maybe a choice could be to simply just wake up.
There you go.
And the other one could be to continue sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore alarm and continue sleeping.
Ooh, that's good.
Okay. Save.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. You got two options.
Okay.
So
What do I do
happens if
next?
Well, what happens if you click on one of the options?
Maybe if they maybe when they wake up, I'm blanking right now. I'm sorry.
How about
Maybe-
you go to get a cup of coffee?
Okay. Okay. Decaf.
Yeah. There you go.
So where do I put that? In brackets here?
Yeah. So you're going to put wake up in brackets. So that's just
Okay.
choice.
Okay. Oh,
A
that's
square
not a bracket.
without a
Okay,
shift.
there we
you
go. Okay.
Okay.
And
then
then
afterwards, that's the consequence. What
Okay.
happens?
Okay.
Cool.
And save?
Yep.
Okay. And if you ignore the alarm and continue sleeping.
Oh, here, let's try a thing. Can you put
Okay.
the brackets just around ignore alarm?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah, I already skipped the whole step.
No, it's okay. Because
you.
ordinarily, like if you were following the pattern, you put the brackets around the whole thing.
Got
But
you.
let's
Okay.
look and see what it does when you
Did you say just ignore alarm?
Yeah,
or
just
the
around
whole thing?
ignore alarm.
Okay,
Let's see what
gotcha.
happens when you do that.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Do we have to click save?
Yeah, you have to click save.
Oh,
Good.
then
And
it
now
changed.
click on ignore alarm over on the right. Go on the right hand side.
Over here?
Yeah. Click on ignore alarm.
Ah.
You see how ignore alarm was the choice, and
Yes.
then and continue sleeping was the consequence. But
Okay.
and you can choose to either put the square brackets around the whole thing, ignore alarm, continue sleeping, and then type something after it. That's a consequence. Or if you like it like that, you're good.
Actually, I like it like this. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So let's add the next part of the story. Can you press enter after line 3 and go down and to type some new lines? Excellent. Give it one more line because we want to keep this kind of separate from the next thing. Okay, so how are we going to start the next part of the story? What kind of symbol do we need?
Dash.
There you go. Try dash.
Okay. All right. So I would make the story based on one of these two consequences, this part.
So here's the thing. This one doesn't actually depend on the consequences from before. This is going to just go no matter what you chose. So let's choose something that's going to happen no matter what you chose. So maybe you are sleepy at work the next day.
Okay.
Okay, so let's save and try going through our story.
Okay.
Okay, mysterious man always appears in my dreams before I wake. Which one of those are you going to choose? You can choose
So
either.
if I put I wake up.
Yep. Wake up, go to cup. See, look, I am tired of
Ah.
work the next day happens
Mm-hmm.
even though you chose to go get a cup of decaf coffee.
I see.
There you
Okay.
go. And then you could add more choices after that if you wanted.
Mhm.
But I thought it was really indicative that when you were planning to do this, you said this continues as a consequence of the
Mhm.
choice.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's the next thing we need to do. The code for that is slightly more complex. So I'll show you like the next level.
Okay.
Cool. So if you can stop sharing your screen, thank you so much for
Thank you.
being our brave
I'm
volunteer.
definitely gonna remember now. So
That is the whole point. You got to do it right before you remember. Okay. Let's bring this back to. Okay. So we did this. We did minuses and stars. The next thing is knots. So if you see here, there are 3 equal signs right next to each other on either side of a name. And that name's like it's like not a chapter, it's like it's called a knot. So it's a bit of the story that ties together. Okay. So then what you can do is once you have knots with names on them, you can use this arrow symbol to go to that knot. Okay. So that's the thing. So maybe instead of just being tired at work the next day in your story, you can have, if you chose to wake up, you can go to this other part of the story. Or if you chose to, stay sleeping, then it goes to another thing with a different name. So this is kind of difficult to like navigate through all at once. So here's what we're going to do. There's a link to this completed story on Unfold Studio. And I'm going to put that in the chat for you. And we're going to go there. Okay, so this is a public story. So if anyone edits it and saves it, it'll be saved publicly. So watch out for that. And here we go. Okay, so we're going to play the story. You're floating in the pool on a raft that looks like a large chocolate sprinkled donut. Suddenly you hear a shout and look up at the rows of balconies. What should we do? Should we shout back or go check it out?
Go check it out.
Go check it out. You slip gracefully off your donut and towel off, making your way up the metal stairs to where you think the shout came from. Okay, so do you see we did, let's trace where we went in this code. We started at the pool. The pool is here. This is the pool's knot. It's got some description, a part of the story. And then what do we see underneath it?
choices.
Yeah. You recognize this on 5, 6, 7, 8? Here's the hint. What if those are stars? Same deal. These star symbols are for choices, but also plus symbols are for choices. So I wanted to show you that because if you're going through the stories on the website, you might see stars and you might see pluses. And there's a slight difference in those. And that's if you ever come back to this same knot at the pool, pluses will be choices that are still there for you, and stars will be choices that go away if you've already chosen them. They're called sticky choices. But for right now, you can use them interchangeably if you're not coming back. So a star or a plus will be a choice. What about these square brackets? Do we recognize these? Yep. So that's around your choice. And which part of this is the consequence?
The arrow and then the word.
There you go. So you can read this as go to splash. Okay, so if I click on shout back, it's going to go to splash, and splash is the name of the knot up down here. There we go. Okay, so the important parts here, like we already learned about minuses and stars. This doesn't use any of those. It uses knot names and arrows to go to. All right, so this is a different way, a more advanced way of doing the navigation. So let's see, let's start with this story and let's expand on the story. So how about let's start with Splash and put 2 more choices onto Splash. So right now, 3 men run out of room 204, startling you so that you fall ungracefully off your donut and splash into the cold water. When you surface, they are gone. I'm going to take off this done here, and I'm going to add a choice instead. What should our first choice be?
Get out of the pool.
Get out. Cool. What's another choice?
Yell at the men.
Okay, cool. So if we save, oh, this is really interesting. If your story has no end, it's going to give you this message. And let's read the message. Apparent loose end exists where the flow runs out. Do you need a done statement? So it's like, yeah, I totally do need a done statement. I took out the done statement that was at the end and I put 2 new choices, but in order for it to actually run, everything needs to go to a place, and done is a place. So now it's going to show it. It goes to done. So we're going to go check it out. No, we're going to shout back. And then look, get out of the pool or yell at the men. And both of them will send me to just being done. So let's send them to a different place. What happens if you get out of the pool? What happens to you? You
Drip all over the place.
you leave wet footprints in a trail up the metal staircase. Cool. Okay, so that's what I want to happen next. I need to give that a name. What is the name of that not going to be? And that's something I can call it so I recognize it. The reader of the story will never see the actual name. That's just something for me and the computer to talk about.
Footprints.
Footprints. Okay, 3 equals to start, 3 equals to end. Okay, and now all I have to do is get the code to go to there. So which one of these is it get out of the pool or yell at the men that goes to footprints?
Get out of the pool.
There you go. So I'm going to take this arrow to go to footprints. And did you see what happened when I did footprints?
It recognized it.
It recognized it. It made it blue and underlined. That means that is a not I know. Cool. I can go to footprints. Okay, let's try it. Oh, a loose end exists. Do I need a done statement? Where do I need a done statement?
The footprint.
Yeah, and the footprints. There we go.
Is this only when you have places like footprint, splash, motel, you need it done?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was going to be my question. So just to clarify, so the done does not mean that your story is done. It just means that that particular section is done.
Yes.
How come you don't have a done after pool at the top?
Because it's going to the pool, and as soon as you have a go to,
No.
it goes to the pool, and pool is here.
No, the next. Okay,
It
but
runs.
like, so where you have motel,
Mhm.
you have some text and then it says done.
Mhm.
But if you go up, you have 3 equal signs pool, 3 equal signs. There's no done statement after that section.
No, because the whole pool section is this whole thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need a done because it goes to somewhere else. It goes to splash, and splash goes to done.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So if there are
it's-
choices in a not,
yeah,
then it doesn't need a done.
yeah. Basically, everything
Ah,
needs to go
okay.
somewhere,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't go anywhere, you should make it go to done. Just your leaf node.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So we're going to check this out. We're going to shout back. 3 men run out. I'm going to get out of the pool. Look, my wet footprints in a trail up the metal staircase. And what done does is it's just, this is over. I can't interact with it anymore. I'm done until I press save again, and then I can rerun it. Cool. Okay, excellent. What if we give an option to get back in the pool? What if we have here, get back in the pool, and then we could send it to
Pool?
pool. We could send it back here. We could have a little loop that goes back to the beginning.
So because you only have one choice there, they'll have to click that one.
Yeah. See, there's only one choice, get back in the pool, and we'll click it, and it's going to give us the same thing here and the same choices. Okay, so that's how you can navigate around, and like if you get someone in a place where it's like, oh no, I'm lost, you could send them back to another place. Or you could have two different consequences eventually leading back to the same part of the story.
This is cooler than the physical books, because with the
Yeah.
physical books, you would jump to some page. And then if you wanted to remember where you came from, like you had to, like I was always bending down the pages and whatever, but this shows you the whole history and it makes
Yeah,
sense.
I would put my fingers in the book to keep track, and I could only go 8 levels back.
Awesome.
Okay, so how are we feeling about this?
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, so on your line 6 and 8, it's indented, but on 17 and 19, they're not. Does that matter?
Nope.
Okay.
Some things matter for indentation, but not in this easy, just navigation mode. When we get into conditionals and variables, the new lines and the indentations get to be finicky. Cool. That was a good noticing for you.
How does the computer recognize it again when it underlines it? What is it recognized as?
Yeah, so let's see. Let's try doing, so instead of motel, let's do an arrow, go to a place that doesn't exist yet. What if we put forest? Look, it underline that as forest. So just whatever is after the arrow, it's going to underline it to show you that it thinks it's a not name. Just so you can see.
So what happens if, so we didn't define a not forest. What happens if we get to that now?
Divert target not found forest on line 6.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that neat? Cool. Okay. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to stop sharing. I would like if a volunteer could find that same story and open it up and see if the changes that I made to it just now are there.
I have it pulled up. I can do it.
Go ahead, Zoe.
Okay, this is the same one, right?
Yeah, and it says forest. Remember how I typed forest and we didn't have a forest? How are you going to fix that?
Oh, by adding it. So do you want me to add it?
Yeah, so you can either make a new not called forest,
Mm-hmm.
or you could switch forest back to a not you already have,
Okay.
right? So it just depends how you want your story.
Okay. Do you want me to switch it back to what?
No, let's just switch it back for now.
Okay.
We'll make a new one later. So I think that one goes to
motel.
motel. There we go. Now push save and let's see how the story looks. There you go. And you can like play the story.
I think it ends. Yeah, it ends.
Yep,
there.
it ended. Should we put more choices after that one?
I mean, we could.
Yeah, let's add new choices. Okay, so let's find in the code where that text is. There you go. So line 9. And right now that just goes to done. So how are you going to put in choices?
You can put the first choice and the second choice. But we have to think about what they are.
Yeah. So let's see, we're on metal stairs. Oh, maybe we should just do turn right or turn left.
Yeah.
Oh, what are these?
Oh, so those are ink keywords. So there's there's a lot of advanced coding that you can do, and a lot of those are built in and autocomplete. but it can't tell the difference between when you're writing your story and when you're coding. So it always gives you those annoyingly when you're writing.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's make a knot there. Okay, so currently they both go to done, but we want them to go to a different part of the story. Yeah. So let's make one of those dones into a different location. Maybe it should be right and left, or good guy or bad guy.
I'm just gonna do right and left.
There you go. Nice.
And then I would have to add them.
Yeah, so now you're gonna have to add those knots and put story into them. So you can go down to the bottom, or you can put them wherever is convenient for you.
Okay.
Cool. So you've got right and left, and you've got your 3 equal signs either side. So what should happen if you turn to the right?
You would say trick or treat.
Okay. You knock on the door, and when it opens, you say trick or treat.
You got to be timely here.
Yeah. Excellent. What happens if you turn to the left? How about you notice the door of 305 is ajar. Lovely. Okay. Do you think you need anything else? Do you want to save and test it now?
I'll add the done so that we can actually see it, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Someone's here. Hello. Yes, of course. Let me get my mask.
Be right back.
Okay. So when everyone's looking at Zoe's code, do we think that'll work? Is she going to get error messages?
Let's see.
Let's check it out.
Only one way to find out, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good observation. I noticed there's no dash in front of the sentence. Why is that? When we have knots, we don't need dashes because the knot name fills in for the dash. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So go ahead and click save and run your story. And let's try it. Let's do go check it out. Ooh, you slip gracefully off your donut and towel off. Turn right or turn left.
Ooh, I want to turn right. I'm going to click that.
There you go. Trick or treat. Cool. So when kids are writing these, they always have to go back and test their story and test all the branches and make sure they all work, which is attending to precision like crazy. Yeah. Cool. Thank you, Zoe. That was wonderful volunteering. You can stop sharing your screen. I am going to share with you the next thing I have, which is,
Sam, have you used this with any grade levels?
I have used it like informally with a club of middle schoolers, and they loved the story writing so much they did not get very deep into the code. They totally concentrated on the story.
So lots of really long paragraphs. Like
yeah, like as adults, we're like, oh, I don't know what to write, because it's not perfect. Kids are like, I am writing a whole story. And you're like, do you want any choices in that? And they go, no, I'm not finished with this paragraph yet. So I do recommend kind of having like one throwaway story in the beginning that's like stupid and we don't know, and then maybe one where they know the whole plot of it, and then opening them up to write their own story so that they have some experience with the code and the choices before they have to be like creative. So I have this template for us. This is how I think of the code. So like the story we just wrote, it has knot names with equal signs after them. It has pluses for choices. And then for every choice, it has a divert, a go to, where it goes to another knot. Okay. So this is like a binary tree, just like we did our story. And so this is basically all the code you would need to write a story that's this long. Okay. So should we plan it out together, plan a story? Let's duplicate this. Okay. So let's start with what's the title of our story? Come on, adults, you know you can be creative. Channel your inner child.
Spish, I can't even say it. Spish splash. How do you say that?
Splish Splash.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Splish Splash is the name of my story. Where does my story start?
At the
On-
beach.
Ooh, at the beach. Okay. So I'm going to name my first knot Beach. And what happens at the beach? We don't need the actual words, the text. Let's just get the idea down.
A big wave comes in.
Okay, a big wave comes in. You have two choices. What's your first choice?
Run away.
Run. Yeah, run.
Okay. What's your other choice?
Dive into the wave.
Dive into the wave. Cool. Okay. What happens if you try to run away?
You destroy your friend's sandcastle.
Okay, so we're gonna go to sand. I'm gonna name this new knot Sandcastle. Okay, destroy friend's sandcastle. All right, and there's two choices you have there. After you destroy your friend's sandcastle, you're going to
So you're sorry.
or
Bury your head in the sand.
okay, if you apologize, what happens?
They forgive you.
Okay.
Totally unrealistic.
Very unrealistic.
Okay. Oops. If you bury your head in the sand, what happens?
Your friend grabs you by the ankles.
Okay, let's go back because we finished these. We got to done. The other one we have is dive into the wave. What's going to happen if you dive into the wave?
A whale swims past you.
Whale. Ooh, I like that. Cool. And you have two choices. What's the first choice with that whale?
Take a picture.
Cool. What's your other choice if you're not going to take a picture?
Run.
Run. You are
But you're
underwater.
but you're
Swim back
underwater.
to shore. Swim back to shore.
Okay, cool. Okay, if you take a picture, what happens?
Post it on Instagram.
Okay. If you swim back to shore, what happens?
You live.
I think you destroy the sandcastle. Can we do
Ooh,
that?
I like that. Let's just make it go to Sandcastle. That's a cool. I like that. So this will go zoop back to here. Very cool. Okay. This is a story we're all going to write. I'm going to split you up into breakout rooms. And let's get all of this. Does everyone have a link to this presentation? I'm going to put that in the chat again. Cool. Okay, so I want to give everyone 10 minutes. Use this story with your team, partners, however much we end up in. Use the template that we wrote. Code the story. Make it individual, your partners, change stuff about it. You know, if you have time, go further. But that's your challenge. I'm giving you this template. I'm giving you no starter code, and I want you to write your own. Sound good?
Okay, so I was doing this beach. So I've got beach so far there. Like, how do I zoom in on that? Oh, like that. Okay, cool.
Wait, but before that, do the arrow to point to beach.
I do?
Like, yeah, like I in the other one they had like arrow pool, so you have to.
Do arrow beach?
Yeah.
Like that? Okay. Oh, I see. There was. I missed that one. Okay. So when I'm at the beach now, I have to write like probably full sentences. It's I can't type. A nice sunny day, and I am at the beach. I'm walking toward the ocean and a big wave approaches. Okay. Do I say like, what should I do? Or do I
I
just
think
like,
you put the plus, so you entered and you put the plus symbol and you give two choices.
so plus is like run away.
Mhm.
Well, in the brackets, right? So in the,
Oh, okay. Because that's what it shows. And then let me do the other one before I forget. The other one is dive into the wave. Okay, so those are my options, but I haven't said what to do. So run away goes to sandcastle. Okay, this one up here. So I think I just type sandcastle, but I'm not sure. But maybe I have to make it a knot. Sandcastle.
What you missing?
I think that you put here on the runaway, I think you put you crash into your friend's sandcastle, and then on this one, dive into the wave, you put the consequence as well. And then under sandcastle, that's where you're going to add more information to the story. I believe that's what happens.
Okay.
you need,
So you saying I should put destroy friend's sandcastle? That should go
Underneath
here?
your knot.
Oh, underneath the knot. Okay.
Mhm.
Destroy. Okay. I destroy my friend's sandcastle and they are
Mhm.
sad.
Right. And then underneath that, you're going to have the two consequences. What would happen when you
before you do
destroy
that,
your
can you do the arrows so that you don't forget? For like
What arrows?
after runaway, you have to do an arrow to sandcastle.
Oh, that's why it's not, that's why it's like just in regular black text because I forgot to do that. There it
Yeah.
is.
And then
Yay!
respell sandcastle in line 8.
Oh, thank you. Sandcastle.
Do you want to check it now? You don't have to code the whole
Yes.
story before you check it.
Right. Okay, I think I'm missing a done, but let me try save. Apparent loose end exists where the flow runs out. Do you need a done? Yeah, so right now I need a done at the end of the sandcastle. Oh,
I think you also need it after dive into the wave.
oh, okay. So like I can just put it done there. even though-
I think you have to go enter and then done. So it would be on the next line. Done would be on the
let me
next
try
line.
saving that and see if that works.
Okay.
You're right. Not found.
Hold on though. What does it say is not found?
Oh, line 10. Here it says line 10, divert, not found, done. So maybe it has to be capital. Done. Save.
Ah.
It does. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, so it's a nice sunny day. I'm at the beach. I'm walking toward the ocean. I've got runaway, which that should work so far, at least my first thing. But dive into the wave is just going to say done. I'm going to test that one first. And that just finishes. Okay. So now I'll press save and I'll try run away. And it says, I destroyed my friend's sandcastle and they are sad. And that's it. Awesome.
You know what I think students would like about this is that it doesn't have, they don't have to focus so much on the story. It's like this co-creation process, you know. They're not necessarily following a formula of character plot, you know, how we traditionally teach the writing of a story.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I
Um,
think you weren't there when I mentioned to Kiana and Zoe, I'm like, if we did not have that plan slide, I would totally have gotten, even if we'd planned it all out, I would have gotten totally lost. Because there's just, you gotta have that. I think we should make a formal like fill in your slide thing for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I made you all do it before you went off.
Because it was complicated.
Yeah. So much to hold in your head at once. Right?
It is.
Okay, thank you, team 2 who just came back. We have Sharisa and Renelle and Brian. I'm going to ask you to share your story first. So, is it Renelle? Are you confident with sharing your screen? Okay, and here's what you're going to do. I want you to ask the people what you should click on. So read the story and then say, what should I click?
Okay, so a big wave is coming towards the shore. Do you run away or dive into the wave?
And team 1, you get to shout out.
Let's dive into the wave.
Good choice.
Thanks.
A whale swims past you in the ocean. Do you reach into the plastic baggie to grab your camera or do you swim back to shore?
Swim back to shore.
Okay. So while running away, you destroy your, oh, it doesn't make sense. While running away, your friend's sandcastle. Apologize or bury your head in the sandcastle.
Apologize. Let's be nice.
It says your friend accepts your apology.
Yay! That's awesome. So that would be like one time through you choose your own adventure, but you could click save and run it again and make different choices. And did you test all your choices?
I think, well, we tested some. Options, but
Tested most of them.
We would need to like create a table of like to direct people how to test all the choices. Like there'd have to be a line for like each of the options. Like, did you test
Ooh.
this?
Yeah, or like a checkbox in the template.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much, team 2. Team 1, do you want to go ahead and share
Okay.
your story?
Sure. I need to make sure I'm on the right one. I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay. I'll hit save.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. It's a nice sunny day and I'm walking toward the ocean and a big wave approaches. Do you want me to run away or dive into the wave?
run away.
I destroy my friend's sandcastle and they are sad. Should I say I'm sorry or should I stick my head in the sand?
Stick your head in the sand.
My friend grabs my ankles and I scream and get sand in my mouth. The end.
Wah wah.
Cool. Okay. So as you were seeing that and as you remember the other team's version, what was different?
Well, I remember because I thought it up and typed it that I screamed and got sand in my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you made different choices about the text of the story, right?
Yeah.
That's one. Anything else that was different?
I think the first group that went, they had a little bit more detail than we did.
Mm-hmm.
We put the phone in a plastic baggie.
Yeah. What about the experience of like the code part of it? I know I'm angling for a specific answer here.
Oh, you are.
Big difference
There
in
was?
the other story as opposed to this one.
I think this one, they used the brackets for the choices and we didn't. Also that the arrows are on like, everything's on like one line and ours was like, we had a space.
There you go. So I think the brackets are an important part. So remember the brackets make that choice not show up in the story.
Oh.
So that's up to you, right? Whether you want to put the choice in the story or not. So you know you have brackets there to show or hide the choice. So I would like to show you, because you've had this experience, and you totally can do that, right? You can write stories that branch forever and ever and ever just using that syntax, right? You got a small number of symbols, you know how to make them go, You could have lots of choices. You could go back to knots that already exist. You could make things go to done. I want to show you something pretty cool, but it all is also at the same time pretty advanced. And that is, you can keep track of information using variables. So here is an example of a story about getting a new puppy. Okay, so I'm going to just take you through the code and we're going to read kind of what each line means. So on line 1, I'm going to make a new variable, which is just a holder for information. I'm going to name it dog, and I'm going to set it to be nothing to start out with. Okay, so just said there's a dog variable. I'm going to use it later, but right now it's nothing. Okay, and then it starts out with you got a new puppy. See, it starts with the minus or the dash. That's a story part. And then it goes straight into another story part with another minus or dash. What will you name it? And how many choices do we have after what will you name it?
3.
3 choices. Excellent. Okay, so the first choice is I shall name it Waffles. And afterwards on line 6, this is the cool part. If you start a line with a tilde, the rest of it is recognized as code, not story. So this, what it does is it takes that variable dog from the beginning and it sets the name to Waffles. Okay, so in the next one, it'll set the dog variable to Griselda. The third one, it'll set the dog variable to Pog. And then here's where it becomes interesting. When it says you and dog become best friends, it's going to actually put the name you chose for your dog earlier. Okay, so this is how you can like remember stuff. You can keep an inventory. Like say you knocked over the sandcastle and you picked up a shovel. And then you get to another part of the story and you can do something different based on whether you chose to pick up the shovel or not earlier. Right? Because you can keep a variable for do I have a shovel? And you can set it to true or false. And then if it's false later, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I want to challenge you to go back to your original Splish Splash stories and incorporate saving some sort of variable. This is the easiest way, is to just save it and then just use it in the text later. And if you want to like ask if something is true or not, like using a conditional, I will come in and help you with that. Okay, so there's another link here that I have, so you don't have to type all this in. I have that link for you. And let's just bring that up for a second so we know where we are. Okay, so in this interactive part, you got a new puppy. What will you name it? Someone give me a choice.
I don't know. Pog?
You and Pog become best friends and go on lots of adventures. Here you go. Okay. And then if I try it again, what if this time I name it Waffles? I shall name it Waffles. You and Waffles become best friends and go on lots of adventures. And then I get more story. You have extra good adventures because you chose the best name. Okay. So that's the extra line there on 14. If you want to get into checking what your dog's name is and doing stuff based on it, there's an example there. Okay, cool. So does everyone have an idea for what they're going to do to save a variable for later?
Are we doing it in our old story?
Yeah, you're going to go into your old story and have some sort of choice that saves it and then prints it out later. So maybe you could just ask what your person's name is.
I want to ask what the whale's name is.
There you go. You could ask what the whale's name is and then use the whale's name later. Or you could do something like
maybe it's not just a whale. It could be anything from the ocean that you run into, right?
oh, so it could
Ooh,
be
an
and you
octopus?
see an animal in the ocean. What is it? And then you can click on whale or fish or submarine, and then later it could do different stuff based on whichever you click on. But then somewhere later where it's not actually directly linked, you should say like you go on Instagram and post the picture of your
Octopus.
right? Yeah, of the
Submarine.
boat you saw.
Submarine.
Yeah, cool. Okay, Are we happy about
San
this?
Diego, we have nurse sharks, so I'm gonna have a nurse shark.
You also have a shoulder cat.
I do have a shoulder cat. You're just seeing the behind part, but that's okay.
That's the bit they like showing you the best. So happy cat. All right. I'm going to stick you back in breakout rooms and give you a few minutes to incorporate your variables.
You definitely need a story map. This could get complicated very quickly.
Yeah. Another feature of Unfold Studio that I like is they have chapters. So you can just link to a new chapter in a different file and you don't have to get your chapters like all mixed up in one, one file.
That could get really long.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Who wants to share their version first? Should we go opposite? Team 1 first, Zoe and Beth?
Okay. Let's hide the code.
There you go. Okay, you take us through your story.
Okay. It's a nice sunny day and I'm at the beach. I'm walking towards the ocean and a big wave approaches. And we want to use the new thing, right? So we should dive into the wave. Diving into the wave, what do you see? Whale, a shark, or an octopus?
An octopus.
An octopus? I see an octopus. I see an octopus swim past me. How can it be so close to shore?
Ooh, take a picture.
Let's take a picture. I snapped a couple pictures of the octopus and I thought of all the likes I'm going to get.
You put your variable there too.
Yeah.
2 places. Awesome. Cool. Did you learn anything while you were doing this? Anything you tested and figured out?
Oh my gosh, like a million things. I don't know if I can remember them all. Something about double quotes instead of single quotes.
Okay. So it likes double quotes there for a string, not single quotes like Python.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
We had to remember to declare the variable at the top, which we weren't sure if top was the only place you could do it, but probably we were guessing as long as you did it before you use the variable.
Do you want to try it now, moving that declaration from line 1 onto line 12 and see if it still works?
Yeah, do that.
Sure.
Well, I have a question about line 12 versus line 9, maybe.
I mean, it looks like it still works. Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Yep. So that variable is a global variable. When you use var.
So it doesn't matter even if it's declared inside the notch.
Yeah, there's no variable scope with var.
Got it.
Yep. Cool. Anything else you learned?
We had originally forgot to go to whale after each of the options, but I think we did know that. We just forgot.
Cool. Great. Thank you very much, Team 1. Round of applause. Thank you for sharing. Yay. Team 2, you want to share your version?
It's a similar story. So a big wave is coming towards the shore, and then you dive into the wave, and a animal passes you by. What type of animal is it?
A shark, a shark, a shark.
Okay, a shark. Okay, a shark. Reach. Oh, whoops! Did not do this part. Well, anyways, reach into the plastic baggie to grab your camera. Take a picture of the shark, and then
There you go.
take a picture of the shark to post on Instagram.
Love it.
So bit of an oversight that second part, but
I love it. There's got to be something about like going back and editing your essay or your story that like maybe we can build that in here too, because you do, once you start changing things a little bit, then you have to remember to go back and like look at the whole thing and see if it still flows.
Yeah, and that really forces you to do that when you show it to somebody else. You go, okay, I'm gonna show you. Oh no, wait, it isn't done. Hold on. Right. Yeah, that's great. Did you learn anything in your process of adding a variable?
yeah, I think one thing we had trouble at first was that we actually had like these choices within our original knot, and that was this one, the water one, and it kept causing an error. So we had to realize, we need to separate it and put it in its own like knot, or at least that's the workaround we found.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't have choices under choices. That's what knots are for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come to think of it, I didn't quite realize it because Zoe was coding it, but yeah, that's why she made it her own knot. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then I was like, I'm just gonna let her go with it. But yeah, otherwise I would have had that problem myself.
Cool. Anything else you learned or are proud of?
No, I don't think so.
Great.
Okay.
Well, big round of applause for Team 2. Yay. All right. So we are just about nearing the end of this hour-and-a-half long workshop. What are your takeaways?
I can totally see how you said when you ran it with the kids, they just were like so busy working on their story, they weren't worried about doing the coding / planning process. I mean, who likes to plan anyway? So that's cool. I think we need to have actually not only just a worksheet, I think we need to actually have a pretty darn cool worksheet. Yeah. Kind of thinking of like interactive Google form, but that might be a little overkill.
Yeah. Anyone else? What did you think, Sharisa?
I really love it. I keep going back to the planning thing as well. So in my class with my students, I always told them, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So they had to plan everything for writing. I mean, everything they did, but their writing was phenomenal. So I'm thinking of ways that you can transfer this into that. And that all stemmed from the fact that I didn't have anybody who taught me, hey, you need to plan before you write. So my writing was always, it was unorganized, and I don't know, teaching them that way and then seeing it translate into this was really, really nice. I'm like, oh, I want to go test this out with some kids. Like, I need to.
When you said
in the
you
classroom,
told your kids that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Did
Mm-hmm.
you end up with like a planner document that we could use?
We had planning documents for everything, and it got to the point where they were creating their own graphic organizers where they would fold their paper and they would make their plan. We used to use sticky notes, and I'm like, okay, tired of using sticky notes, just fold your paper up, make your own little boxes. And they would start off with drawings for the beginning, middle, end. If it were like a narrative, then they would write to those drawings, which made it more fun because then they're doing art with it too.
I was going to say, maybe we can start with your planning documents and modify them for Unfold Studio because you've already used them.
That would be awesome. I'd have to go back and find them, but I know I have them. So definitely.
Search through that Google Drive.
Will do.
Awesome. Brian, how are you feeling?
Good. Yeah. I think this is really, I mean, my experience when you ask kids to do any kind of storytelling, they just go crazy. So I think this is, you know, how, if it weaves in, I think, you know, it's weaving in that element of like, there's that technical element of things that they can do within this that is important. I think we just don't want kids writing for writing's sake, but like anywhere we can weave in computer science, it's a plus. So I think that's a really cool aspect of it.
I think we need at least one Unfold Studio module for our second year middle school course.
So one thing I did with fourth graders, I had them read a story in their ELA class, and then they told an alternate ending. And I think this could be something for that, because, you know, we have the basic story, but then at the end, it was kind of a story where like, it was kind of the ending was sort of unclear. And so we, you know, what really happened at the end here. So that's what I was thinking, like, this would be great for that, because all the kids could come up with different endings for how their story unfolds.
Here you go. Zoe and Renelle, you have anything to add?
Just that it's really cool, but I can also see that like how easily it can be like what's it called? I guess convoluted. But I think just having proper planning would definitely curb that. But there seems like there's more to explore that we've only scratched the surface. So
But you wrote full-fledged stories having known just that little bit, right? Go ahead, Beth.
If I could find my unmute button, I would. So the computer science concepts I've seen so far are variables and if statements. Are there other explicit computer science concepts that are there that we just haven't explored yet?
Yes, like the whole thing is Turing complete. The ink language.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the entire ink language is Turing complete. But what parts of it you need to use meaningfully for an authentic story are, some
Limited.
parts of it. So like
Okay.
I had to invent the bit with the variable for making a choice and remembering it was what it was later. Like I didn't
But that's a
just,
normal story thing.
yeah, well, but exactly. But I had to give you the example that made you say, oh, like it had to be the naming a dog, right? In order for it to make sense. Like there's a lot of examples I could have given you that wouldn't have made much sense.
But that's really, really cool. If you actually think of like even a not choose your own adventure story, like if you can automatically just change out the name of the character to make it like your own name or like a different gender or a gender neutral name, that's super cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
You can change out all the she's to they.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. There's some cool stuff.
There's some very cool stuff here. As I was thinking about like, how would I use this? How would I give it to my, the kids I mentor? What would they use it for? I think they would totally use it, at the same time I'm thinking time of the year, coming out stories. So if you think about like the things you're afraid to do in your life and the choices you would make and the things that like might happen because of them, like write a choose your own adventure coming out to your parents' story. Right. And then you can put in there all the fears that you have and work through all like the possibilities, and that'll make it relevant to you. I was reading the other day immigration stories. So there was this social studies passage that was super general. It was like, and some people chose to leave and others chose to stay. And the ones who chose to leave might have done this and might have had these consequences. And the ones who chose to stay, that's a branching story to me. Like you can navigate that as a single individual. But
I think the general case of that is what's an uncomfortable story or a story you've been unwilling to tell. I mean, it doesn't have to be that you're an immigrant. It doesn't have to be that you're coming out. There's something everyone's never explored.
Yeah.
Right? Like I like dollhouses. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be hard, but I think we could.
We can get into it. I have one final reflection question for everyone. And it was, did you need to know English to do this?
I mean, I guess it's about how much you could put I could just put the story in Spanish, right? Oh, that's kind of cool.
Did any of it need to be English?
Not a single thing. Because it's just arrows and square brackets and equal signs.
Yeah. The two exceptions to that are var for at the top when we declare a variable.
Like that's English anyway.
Yeah. But those are the only ones that are actual letters in the syntax. Var and done. That's it. Everything else you could write in your home language or in many different languages. Imagine a story where you walk up to a person and you choose to say hello or hola. Right?
And then after that, you branch out. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I want to leave you with that. I always like to leave people on what can we do next? So you have Unfold Studio, you can make accounts or you can just do it without logging in. And I encourage you to go have fun with it.